Drink a fizzy mash. I'm ready.
Kawhi, so many already touch points. Good to see you again. Just curious, there's been a lot of talk around you and the Clippers and the investigation last month. Just curious how you're kind of approaching this training camp and kind of not letting that, get in the way, distract you or anything like that.
Oh, I mean, it's easy for me. I mean, I don't read headlines or do conspiracies, theories, or anything like that. So, it's about the season and what we got ahead of us right now. And yeah, tomorrow we'll start camp and see what we got.
Do you have any reaction or statement regarding some of the things that have been alleged over the last month?
No. I mean, the NBA is going to do their job. None of us did no wrongdoing. Yeah, I mean, that's it. We invite the investigation. It's not going to be a distraction for me or the rest of the team.
Hi, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. What is your understanding of the endorsement deal that you had with the company that's been talked to Aspiration, and did you perform any services for them?
When you say understanding, what do you mean?
Like of the contract you signed, and how much money you were to receive, what you were supposed to perform for those services?
I understand that full contract and the services that I had to do. Like I said, I don't deal with the conspiracies or the clickbait analysts or journalism that's going on. So that's what it is.
Well, I think the allegation was that you didn't perform any services for them. Is that accurate, or did you?
I don't think it's accurate, but it's old. This is all new to you guys. The company went bankrupt a while ago, so we already knew this was going to happen. So
You were named as like the largest creditor in the bankruptcy filing, right? Did you actually get the money that was owed to you in the contract, or?
No, but the company went belly up. It was frauded, as everybody knows. If you want any more questions or more details about that company, you need to ask the owner or whoever else is involved in the fraud that went on.
Right, I think they said they owed you $7 million or something, right?
I'm not sure. I gotta look back at the books, but no, it's more than that for sure.
Do you have any idea of how much you actually made on that?
No, it was like 2, 3, 4 years ago.
Kawhi, Lauren Rosen with FanDuel. I remember how much it meant to you to go into the playoffs healthy last season. Lawrence was just talking about the fact that you were able to have a healthy off season as well. What did that mean to you, and how does it change the way that you're able to approach a regular season with health?
It was exciting to be in the off season, not going through rehab. So I was able to push my body to the limit of what I wanted to do without repercussions or dealing with a therapist or anything. So I mean, that was great for me. Able to walk around and just enjoy my summer.
Kawhi, you said heading into last season, back here, Adam Austin with Clippers Radio, you said heading into last season, your goal was to come out of it healthy. You were able to achieve that. Do you have a different goal or a new goal heading into this season you can share with us?
No. I mean, this year is just the same thing that I come in the year, just try to win a championship, do the best I can, try to play as many games as possible, and just go from there. We'll see what we have. We got some new players on our team this year, see what they could bring us, and see if we could make something special happen.
How you doing, Kawhi? Me just Beal with Family TV. Just speaking of those new players, Bradley Beal and John Collins, can you just speak on those additions added to the team and see how's everything going with those?
Yeah, I mean, with Beal, everybody knows who he is. He's a 3-level scorer. Could also pass the basketball. He's going to help out a lot by being a ball handler, another decision maker on the floor, spreading the defense out. And John, same thing, could spread the defense out, guarded a lot for Utah Jazz the last few years, and athletic, could run and jump with the best of them on the floor. And then another name, Brooke, obviously 7 foot shooting big. You need those in this league today.
Hey, Kawhi, Justin Russo writes, good to see you. I remember after Game 7 against Denver, you mentioned you were thankful to get through the season healthy and have an off season where you didn't have to worry about rehab or anything like that. Mentally, what has that done for you to come into a year where you didn't spend your off season trying to get back on the floor?
It was great. Like I said, I was able to just move around how I wanted to without like checking in with a doctor or a rehab specialist, and able to just go on the court, do my skill work or go weight train and just live freely. I mean, I know it's hard for some people to understand, but it's a lot of aches and pains that you go through with playing in the NBA, and simply just sitting down and able to just get up with no pain, it just feels great. And like I said, just to go through a summer like that, it was a blessing.
Last one.
So Kawhi, love Ray, the Athletic, good to see you, man. Obviously, your name has been a topic of conversation all month. Now you got to get ready to help this team win and focus on the season. How do you approach that? Like, how do you approach that with the guys that you play with you, to say, y'all gonna hear my name a lot, y'all gonna get a lot of questions, focus on what needs to be focused on?
I think it's easy. For us, it's nothing to hide. There's no wrongdoing there. So we're just gonna keep going as any other season. My name might pop up, but it is what it is. I've been through times like this before, just going through the year last year with going through the fire. As soon as I came back, that first game, my house and my community caught on fire. So I don't think it's going to be harder than that.
Thank you.
What was that? Anybody?
What's up, James? Grandmont of the Sporting Tribune. Welcome back. Coming into this season, obviously fresh off of the 7-game loss in the first round, how do you feel coming into the season? You played 79 games last season with the added depth. Has there been any conversation about kind of supplementing that through the regular season, and then how do you feel going into the season?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel really good. Worked a lot on my conditioning because in lifting, as you get older, you got to make sure your body is strong and being able to be durable and contribute in other ways. But I feel really good. And then as far as the team, I think we added a lot of pieces that we're missing. We filled a spot in every position, from backup, Big and Brook, to being able to be versatile and do different things that Zoo isn't able to do. Athletic and can shoot, and John, Brad, who's an elite scorer, and then obviously the vet experience in CP. So things change in the course of the year, and it's for us. We've all been on different teams and experience or whatnot. It's on us to figure out what's the best way to play and go from there. But the excitement level was there.
What's up, James? BJ Matthews of the Sporting Tribune. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Question about this upcoming season. You being in your next 17th season and also being able to average what you averaged last year, all NBA third team. What gives you year by year motivation, and going into this season, what have you personally said to yourself that you want to really accomplish in actually this upcoming year?
I mean, it's no secret. I think we all are trying to accomplish the same thing individually. Like I've accomplished everything, in this game individually. So, I think that there's no secret in what we're trying to accomplish here, and it's going to be a lot of different steps to be able to get to that. But I think we have the roster, the depth to actually accomplish it. So many teams in this league we're trying to win a champ. There's only a handful who has a real opportunity. It's a couple factors that plays into that. Obviously, you gotta be good enough. Straight up, you gotta be good enough, and you gotta be healthy. Those are the two things. So, we're both we're both of those right now, and you know, we got to play this whole year out and put ourselves in a great position to you know, compete at a high level when it comes to postseason.
Yeah, James, Beth Harris, AP. With the Clippers hosting the All-Star game, what's your opinion on the league going with a U.S. versus world format this time around?
I'm assuming trying to find ways to, you know, bring some more attention to the game. You know, I think that this is probably the most we've seen as a unit as far as global stars. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of global stars, and so I think just try to find some ways to make the game more competitive and bring some more awareness to the game. And what better place to do it, you know, here in LA into it. So something to get excited about.
James, good to see you. Justin Russo writes, this is your 17th media day. I'm kind of just curious, going into the season, do you still get the same level of excitement going into a season now?
I love to hoop. Like, I don't even like when you just said 17th year because it just made me feel like I'm goddamn old. But like basketball is just, you know, it gives me a different feeling. Like I just love it. You know what I mean? And so it's a new challenge. You know, when it's media day and then you got training camp, it's just an opportunity to be legendary, you know, individually and finding ways to bring the best out of your teammates as a leader of the team, and then still trying to, you know, accomplish what we're trying to accomplish as a unit. So it feels like, you know, day one for me.
Lawrence said you can call you guys seasoned.
Say it again?
Lawrence said you can be called seasoned instead of older vets.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Somebody's already Clutch Boys. James, welcome back. I wanted to ask you about how, you know, Lawrence mentioned that, you know, everyone's kind of aligned here. You mentioned it, but Father Time is undefeated. Everyone kind of feels like, you know, you only get so many cracks at it. And so how does kind of the sour taste of last season, the ending of last season anyway, what was a great season, just didn't end great. How do you kind of let that fuel you guys, knowing that you only have so many cracks at it?
I don't think there's a sour taste. Like we got, you know, half of a new roster. I mean, just really feel like it rejuvenated with the guys that we got. You know what I mean? Like coming into last season, I think they picked us to win 35 games or something like that, and we ended up in the 5th seed, and you know, a pretty good record. You know what I mean? So I think just the expectations is going to be a little bit different going into this year. But for us, it's like I've been on so many teams. It's not even about like what people think or how people feel. I think it's just figuring out how can we bring out the best of each other and maximize what we have in this locker room. Like that's the most important thing. You guys are gonna, no disrespect, but you guys are gonna write up and say whatever you want to say. There's gonna be times in the season where we're not playing well. There's gonna be times in the season where we're like the best team in the NBA. Like it's a part of it. You know what I mean? Like I've literally been through it. So I think for us it's just like riding that roller coaster together and figuring out, hey, this is what works for us as a unit. And this is gonna give us the best chance to be the last team standing. And once we figure that out, like, you know, we gotta just roll with the punch. But yeah, I've had 17 or 16 sour tastes in my mouth. So, you know, it's just I'm trying to get that out.
3 more.
Lover at the Athletic, it's you, James. Bradley Beal's on this team now, and I want to know from you what you observed from him over the last 2 years in Phoenix, why you felt like you can help him bounce back if there's something to bounce back from on this year's Clippers team as opposed to, you know, the form that he wasn't able to recapture in Phoenix.
Because I went through it. Like I went through it, you know, trying to sacrifice and trying to do whatever it takes to win. You know, I feel like that's what the world wanted to see, and as a basketball player, you feel like you're supposed to do it just to quote unquote give yourself the best chance of winning and all that good stuff that sounds right, and for you guys to write up and say good things about like I've been through it, you know what I mean, to where we're past that. Like Brad is a killer on the court, and you know, I'm gonna bring the best out of him. You know, put him in positions to where he's successful, he looks good, and we all look good. And that's literally T. Lou's job, that's my job, and that's all of our jobs to bring out the best in every individual person on this team. So he was in a situation where he was with two alphas and it just didn't work out. I've been in that situation, so for us it's just just getting back to loving the game of basketball and riding for each other. Just that simple.
Hey James, Farmer S. Nashari on SI. You mentioned a couple times about bringing the best out of people. What's kind of been the secret to that for you? Because you've been one of the best in the league at it for a very long time. Is there something you're still learning, or what's been the secret to that for you?
Of course, I'm always learning. Finding out what the person is, like what makes them happy, what they're good at. On the court, off the court, and just making sure, diving into that. But and then obviously figuring out what the person is so great at, and helping with that aspect as well. So it's just it takes time, it takes patience, but when you're a leader, it's natural. So and sometimes for me that's just sacrificing, whatever that looks like, and I enjoy it because I think once our team is playing well and when guys are happy, you can sense that energy, like it just brings a different kind of excitement out of me too. So I think we seen that last year with Zoo. He had a hell of a year the whole year. So piggybacking on that and then just finding other guys to kind of bring that same energy out of them, because ultimately that's just going to be better for our team. So I think we're ready to get the ball rolling tomorrow.
Hi James, Adam Mosley, Clippers Radio. What was your relationship like with CP3 after your time together with the Rockets, and how excited are you to be linking back up now with the Clippers?
Relationship was there, we didn't talk consistently like I wouldn't talk to anybody else that wasn't on my team consistently. But obviously he did some amazing things after he left the Rockets, with the Suns and whatnot. So I think not even just Chris, man. I think all of us are on the same page. Like we're not sugarcoating anything. Like there's no hidden agendas. Like we're all literally trying to accomplish the same thing. And that right there, beauty of it going into one season, knowing that we're all trying to get the same thing and figuring out what that looks like is actually like it feels easier, because been on a situation in certain teams where guys got individual agendas, whether it's contract years or trying to make a name for themselves or whatever the case may be. And now, like for the most part, like the 11th guys we all got the experience. Like we've all been on really good teams. We've all scored the ball out. Like it's about one thing, and I think that's a great thing going into the season.
James, Lauren, Rosen, Sandal.
Yep.
I don't know how online you are these days, but as these media day conferences come from around the league, I have heard a lot of young players who are now all-stars and maybe vets, depending on who they are, talking about your influence when they played with you at different stops. And I think that they are so effusive in their praise for what it's like to work with you. But I don't know if we've heard from you enough about that. So what does that mean to you to have that many guys crediting you?
I don't even know what you're talking about, and I don't know what you're talking about.
What does it mean to you that so many guys around the league credit you for what they've become?
I don't know, man. It's like I talk about it a lot, but when you're at work with me or whatever you want, like it's actually fun. You know what I mean? Because like I just talked about a couple minutes ago, like I figure out who you are as a player and how can I help you. And I think just in life, like you got somebody that can like trying to figure out, like understand who you are as a person, in y'all day-to-day life and work or just not at work. If somebody can find somebody that can try to dive into your life and help you in any aspect, like you're gonna be a much better person. You know what I mean? At home with your family or when you come into work. So that's the kind of like thought process behind it. And I've been fortunate to be able to come across a lot of players to help them on and off the court. And for somebody to kind of mention this, it means I'm doing my job.
Last one, James Tim here from China Mobile Miku.
How you doing?
So you had a great China tour this summer.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about it? And what's your message to all fans from China?
China store is always an experience, man. It's it's one of the best times that I have throughout the summer. You know, you get an opportunity to be showered with love, you know, enjoy experiences and create different memories and moments with fans that, you know, don't get an opportunity to see you consistently. It's a special feeling. So I think this is probably one of my best tours, and you know, they've stuck with me for basically my entire career. So shout out to all my fans in China. Love you guys. I appreciate you for the support, and here we go again.
Thank you, James.
Yep.
Leslie Flowers here.
Not mad at it. The ocean and everything, yeah.
Hey, what's good, Brad? BJ Matthews of the Sporting Tribune. Welcome to LA. Question about this season right now that you're about to come into. When you were with Phoenix, obviously you averaged 17 points per game off great efficiency shooting. I don't want you to get too deep into it, but in the terms of basketball realm, how do you kind of take it upon being to a new situation with the Clippers? They're going to need you to score the ball. And how looking forward to you actually prove that you're still the same player?
A lot of that. One, I appreciate your acknowledgement. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to meet everybody here. But I'm super excited, man. It's no different than, you know, when I went to Phoenix too. Just being in a new situation, new environment. You obviously gotta, you know, warm up, get to know everybody, get to understand the staff, get to understand the system, players, you know, how you guys will play and all of that. But the mentality remains the same, you know. Mine has never changed over the last few years. Like, I know who I am and what I'm capable of doing, and I feel like I've still been able to showcase that. And it's just, like you said, we're in different roles, you're in a different light, you know, so it's not going to be what everybody expects it to be, and that's honestly not what I really care about. It's about what's beneficial for the team, and whatever jobs they need me to go do, I'm going to go out there and execute it.
Brad, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. I just wanted to ask you sort of about how the time in Phoenix ended and what that was like for you. It was maybe the second half of the year. Your name was in trade rumors and discussions all the time, and finally a buyout. Like, how do you put that in any kind of perspective in your life, and how did you process that before coming here?
Well, it's business. It's no different than any other year. I'm in trade talks every year. I was in DC for 11, and every single year somebody was trying to move me out of DC. So it's no different. Every year somebody's going to say where they think you should go or what team should make a move. Like, it's very opinionated, but that's the landscape of the business at the end of the day. You know, Phoenix made a decision that they were going to move in a different direction. I can't do nothing but respect it, you know, and I found the situation that was a little bit more beneficial for me, and I'm excited about where I am now.
Just quick follow up on your health. I think it was Lawrence mentioned that you had something down on your knee, and sort of where are you at with that and the rest of your health?
Yeah, so after the year, Phoenix, I had like a little scope done in Phoenix, and literally right as soon as the year ended, and now I'm ready to rock. So I'm in a great place now. A little minor cleanup after the year, something I was dealing with while playing in Phoenix with a little inflammation in my knee, but I'm locked and loaded right now, ready to go. Good procedure earlier in the year, and I'm back working.
Brad, welcome to LA. Tomer Zard with Touch Points. Just curious what the conversations were with the team, or maybe I know James probably reached out as well, about why this was a destination for you. How hard was it to leave Phoenix and then make the decision to come here and try to rejuvenate your career in LA? Just what went into all that?
It was a process. For one, you definitely respect Phoenix and appreciate them because they help, you know, get everything done, and the communication was pretty straightforward, you know. So I'm always appreciative of that, and it wasn't easy at all. It wasn't an easy decision because many teams made their push and made their run and made their pitch, and it came down to the wire about where I wanted to go and who I wanted to be, what situation I wanted to be a part of, and this in particular stuck out a lot, you know, just in terms of who one Steve Ballmer is and how he operates and what he stands for. His passion is unmatched. I feel like with ownership around the league, and then El Frank has been around for a long time. He knows the game, he knows players, he knows personnel. And then T. Lou is another Missouri guy. I'm from Missouri. We had a previous relationship prior to me coming here, and it just all made sense. And like you said, James, I talked to James throughout the process, and their pitch was it was honestly better. It was better. It made more sense. It was more fitting. Felt more confident and comfortable about, you know, the role and the situation I was going into. So everything kind of aligned.
And just to follow up, your agent over the summer, I think when the buyout happened, mentioned that you're not a guy who likes to move a lot. Is this a place that you can kind of see yourself, you know, I know the year hasn't started yet, but just
Right.
a place you can make home for you, your family, and basketball-wise?
100%. My wife's from here, so that made the transition a little smoother and easier for us. But I love it, man. I love being here. I'm usually here every off season working out anyway, so it wasn't too big of an adjustment for me living wise and all of that. Like, I'm very acclimated with LA. And it was more or less just about where basketball is going to be best for me. You know, I hope I can finish here. That's the goal. That's the end goal. Something me and L. Frank talked about. So hopefully, obviously, you got to continue to produce and continue to help, you know, lead this team to wins, and the future will take care of itself.
Hi, Brad. Justin Russo writes, Lawrence and Ty have both talked about over these weeks, and especially today, about getting you back to the elite level on defense, because you're going to be tasked with guarding the lead ball handlers and all this stuff. Kind of, how do you take that challenge on? Are you looking forward to that?
100%. 100%. I feel like I've had that at least in Phoenix the last couple of years too. Like, just being responsible for guarding, you know, some of the best players in the league. And I'm open for that, man. Like, I am willing to do that. We have a lot of dudes who can put the ball in the basket, so that ain't my job to do every single night. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be other ways. There's other ways, and that's the beauty of it. Like, I sit here and I preach to my AAU kids about there being more than one way of impacting the game besides scoring, and I'm just preaching to myself right now. You know, so I can showcase that there's other ways to impact the game outside of scoring. Like, I can score the ball with the best of them, but I can also guard too, and that's. JVG's been on my ass about that since we got here, so yeah, that won't stop.
Hey, Brad, Joey Lynn on SI, welcome to LA. You've played with some really great point guards. You've also been in positions where you've had the ball in your hands a little bit more. What's your level of excitement to play alongside James? And I know you said there have already been conversations there, but
Yeah.
just what's your comfort level? Do you prefer to have a really ball-dominant guard like James next to you to kind of unlock what you do offensively?
I'm open either way. You know, it's always about what the team wants and needs. I'm always, you know, going to be sacrificial in that regard and doing whatever it takes. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't have my best years in my career without an elite point guard. The John Walls, the Russ Westbrooks, you know, I've had some really good point guards, you know, so you know, to play with James, CP, and those guys, like, it's just another box I get to check, you know, and I'm super ecstatic about it, man. Just whether the ball's in my hand, I'm playing off the ball, no matter what it is, I'm just happy to get back to good energy and just hooping. That's it.
Mom Murray at The Athletic. Good to meet you, Brad.
All right.
We talking about, you know, you mentioned Tyronn. I know y'all both from Missouri. You know, like, what has that connection been like from a personal standpoint, and what are you excited about specifically from a basketball standpoint about how he can support your success?
I mean, he's very straightforward. Outside of him playing the game, I think being a player's coach, you know, playing in the league, and, you know, now being in that position to coach, it puts you in a different light than a lot of other coaches. Not saying that you have to play the game to be a coach or be impactful, but it does carry a lot of weight when, you know, you're getting through to your team and trying to explain certain situations, especially when you've played the same position, you know. So he's able to understand kind of where we come from in a lot of ways. He's able to teach it in manners in which, you know, players sometimes just understand it better. And like you said, like, I've had a relationship with him prior, so like it's funny, like he kind of has that same mentality, like what you asked me earlier, of like you do know you're a 30-point a game all-star. Like he's like, you know, every time you played the Clippers the last couple of years, you kicked my ass. So like, I need that same type of energy over here. So he's been straightforward about it. You know, I think what I love the most about him is he's accountable with everybody, even with Kawhi, with James. It starts with those two, and he trickles it down to the rest of the team, you know, and he's not a cuss you out, be in your face, but he's going to be very demanding, and, you know, he expects results out of his players. And there's nothing I like more than just being coached, and that's all I ask for.
Thank you, Brad.
Oh, my bad. There's water right here. Good, thank you. How we doing? How y'all doing?
John. Tomer's out of the Clutch Points. Welcome to LA.
Appreciate that.
First thing I want to ask you is, what are you most excited about when it comes to playing with this team and playing winning basketball? First time in a while.
Yeah, I'm just firstly super excited to be in the city of LA. I've enjoyed myself when I wasn't, on the team here. So now, in the best way, just enjoying my time. I just feel like I'm at peace, I'm calm, and on the basketball side, I haven't really had a chance to play with a high-level playmaker such as CP, James, since Trey. So I left Trey in Atlanta. Obviously, some great young talent in Utah as well, but just excited to, again, be in an organization that's ready to win now, respectively where I was. We're in different situations, and I could just feel the energy as soon as I walk into the arena, the intensity, the focus, the need to win, and it's exciting.
You've been linked to this team for quite some time on social media and rumors and all those things. Had you heard about those? Had you been privy to those conversations? And what was your reaction when you finally got the news that the trade was going through?
No, yeah, I try not to see or try not to look, but I end up just seeing everything. So whenever I see it, just again, you just start to your mind just starts to race, thinking about all the possibilities of what could happen. But I just tried to stay positive and to do my job and focus on what was in front of me. But again, exciting to think about it, and now even more exciting to see what those possibilities are actually like in real life, and I'm going to continue to figure it out every day.
Hey John, Long Area, definitely good to see you, man.
Brother.
Cool. It's been a lot of years where Kawhi has at least hinted that he'd like to play with a bigger forward, to start games and just in general on the roster. You've played this team before, with the Clippers lined up the way they are. What have been the conversations been with Kawhi specifically, and what do you feel like you can add to this team that you clearly saw they didn't have over the last 2-3 years?
No, just firstly, what I can bring is, overall, I'd say the biggest thing, because I feel like we have everything. If we're just not talking about what I can do with the basketball, but what I bring is that energy, the spark, the juice, whatever you want to call it. I feel like that's needed on any team, anywhere. I feel like, I've been the leader, the vocal leader, the mental leader on any team I've been on my entire life until now. So it's going to be great for me to not necessarily take a step back, but again, just embrace all of the basketball knowledge, information that I'm going to be learning on the court, off the court. And when it comes to talking about Kawhi, excited to learn from him defensively. Definitely excited for him not to be guarding me every time, because whenever I played the Clippers, Kawhi was always guarding me, which I didn't really want, didn't really appreciate. So it's great to have him on my side. And just, obviously we all know Kawhi, not too long-winded conversations, but you know what I mean? When we're talking about what we really want to do is win, and we don't really need to talk too much about that. You know what I'm saying? I know what I want to do, and I want to respect his time, his greatness, and what he brings on the court with, my 100% effort.
John, good to see you. Justin Russo writes, Ty was up here talking about your versatility. He sees you obviously as a 4, but also in some lineups you can play as the 5. What do you envision your role as, and kind of how do you see yourself fitting into what is a contract year essentially for you?
Oh, no, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm just pretty confident in my abilities and my work and what I've done every summer, how I take care of my body. And, I pride myself on that versatility to be able to come into, as I said, I feel like any team and just be able to add, whether it's, spacing, energy, rebounding, defense, leadership. I feel like I call myself a chameleon. I could, change colors, shape shift into whatever version of myself is needed. And again, I just pride myself on being able to do that. I don't think about what I am or will be. I just try to adjust. As basketball is just a game that just changes so much. So I just try to be flexible and flex to what the team needs in different areas and times.
Hi John, Joey Lynn on that side. Lawrence was talking about how it's really been a long time, really since Blake Griffin, that you guys, the Clippers, have had a really athletic power forward. What were those conversations like, just how you are going to be free to just obviously playing alongside James, the opportunities that's going to present just athletically. How excited are you to kind of show just more of that with this team?
No, extremely excited about the platform of just being in LA, the eyes, the fans, and just the attention. I feel like, as a player, I always feel like I get overlooked, overrated, or whatever you call it. Whether it be the chip on my shoulder or whether it be being real or not, it's motivation for me. And I definitely appreciate the energy from the city. Since I've been here, obviously I dunk a lot, and Blake dunked a lot too. So I've just felt that good positive energy. The crowd wants to be entertained. They want to see people dunk, of course, and hoping I could bring that to the fans in the best way. And I also know I got two great playmakers who are gonna help make that happen a little bit easier. So I am again, can't say it enough, but I'm just extremely excited to know that I can play a certain style of basketball that allows me to truly, in the best way, not think and sort of just flow and let the playmaking abilities of, again, CP, KD, who I've also, Chris Dunn, also played with before, and just let the PGs do their thing and allow the game to flow.
John, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN.
Good to see you.
What's it like for you to be on? You're kind of the younger guy on this team.
Yeah.
I think, like in Utah, you were probably the vet, right?
Yeah.
What's it like? I mean, everybody here is in their late 30s, crazy P's.
No,
40.
it's honestly funny, right? Everybody knows about media day today. I got rooked today, right? Because I'm wondering, I was the first person out here doing everything. And I'm like, how is everybody done already? And now I'm like, oh, well, it's like James, CP, Brooke. They're like, who's in front of me? John. Oh, jumping him. You know what I mean? So it's a respect thing. I'm not even mad. It is what it is. But you just forget you forget sometimes, like I was the vet, you know what I mean? 8 years in last year, I was the oldest player on my team. I think it was myself and Jordan Clarkson were the two oldest players. And then in Atlanta as well, I was like the longest tenured player and, longest person in the league as well. So it's cool. It's refreshing, man. It keeps me humble and, makes it fun.
Hey John, Fargo Nashari on SI. Earlier you said you kind of consider yourself like the juice or the spark, and like when you look at the Clippers for the past couple of seasons, they definitely look like a team that needed like that extra spark or the juice. Is that something you've seen sometimes on the outside looking like I'm a perfect fit for what I can do for this team?
Yeah. I'm a basketball fanatic. Like, not everybody in the NBA is like a fanboy, I guess, like me. So again, I get carried away sometimes, just whatever team it was. But obviously with James, it's always like, ooh, man, I would, love to be with James and love to be with this guy and that guy. So it's just funny how things work, and I'm excited to bring that. I definitely could see that, rebounding, as we talked about, certain areas and energies, winning plays. As I said, I know we have guys here that do those, but just to have more is always great, and that's what I feel like I bring is more.
Is James a player you've been really excited to play with for quite some time?
Super duper. I mean, pick and roll master. I feel like, I live in the pick and roll and can do my thing and wheel and deal in the pick and roll as well. So again, I'm very big on what I say, being, I'm very big on my words and speaking things into existence. So I try not to speak in totality or just speak in things in the way that they're already done. But again, extremely excited to play with James and have him on my team.
Hey John, right here, Grant Mona, Sporting Tribune. Welcome to LA. You played in Utah and you played at that place with kind of a wall, which Steve Ballmer kind of, I guess, formed this wall for. And coming to Intuit Dome, you played here with the Utah Jazz. What have you thought of being in the Intuit Dome as a player now for the Clippers, all the facilities and everything? Did it make an impression on you when you were playing in Utah and coming here too?
No, for sure. Obviously taken aback at all the technology and just the lighting, the experience that you get from being here, just not even as a player, but just the amenities that Steve has been able to put in the facility for the locker room side and in the arena side. It's exciting. It's again a breath of fresh air for me. Something that I can look forward to. Again, on the fan side of me, the fan in me is like,
man, this is so cool. Like, try not to, get too excited and lock in. But it just always helps me when I can feed that kid in me, to have just a little fun and look at the game in a different light.
Two more. John, Janice Carr, the Southern California News Group. You keep mentioning James Harden. Have you sat down and talked to James Harden, what he expects from you and what you expect from the team? I mean, what kind of conversations have you had?
Oh no, I feel like we've honestly had every conversation, maybe except for expectation, in terms of it being understood. I feel like, I respect him as, the bearded one, as I call him. And he just respects me and for what he knows about me and my game. Actually had a chance to go out with him and with the Scottsdale, did a little mini training camp and had a chance to sit down and spend some time with him. Again, we didn't really talk about, that sort of mode of basketball, but we did have a chance to bond and just like you said, just break the ice. And that's just as important as well as the chemistry on the court, is having some good chemistry off.
Were the conversations, like, anything surprise you coming from James, or did you know everything you knew about
I would say this, I don't know anything, firstly, but what I do know is that I just want to respect James on the court and give him my all. But I do know there will be more things I find out about him as the years goes on, as he will about me, but nothing more than him being more down to earth than I thought, which I knew was going to happen, just by you meeting somebody and spending some time with people. They're just more personable than what you thought, and we go from there.
Last one.
How you doing, John? Demetrius Beater with Infinity TV.
What's going on, brother?
Welcome to LA.
Appreciate
Also
that.
to ask you, now playing the forward, now you're down there with Zoo.
Big Zoo.
Knowing yourself being a dominant rebounder, how can you see the combo of you and Zoo on the defense end?
And me and Zoo and I have talked about that a lot already, and we're excited to rebound. As weird as that sounds, I respectfully, as he is and myself, we look at each other as, I don't know what you would say, but a certain level of person that boxes out, because Zoo boxes out a lot as well as I do, and sometimes when you box out, you're relishing for somebody else to come over the top and grab those boards, and that's the chemistry of you box, I box. It just helps our team rebound, and that helps our overall defense. And again, just long story short, we're both excited to have another great rebounder next to each other. So we did have a chance to talk about that a little bit. So I'm definitely happy to have Big Zoo with me down there on the block.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, guys. Oh, shit.
Chris, good to see you. Joey Lynn on that side here in the front. First of all, welcome back. I know we've seen you once already, but just to say it again, welcome back. We were just talking to John, and we were telling him how Lawrence was saying he's probably the most athletic power forward this organization has had since Blake. And he was saying how excited he is to play alongside you, play alongside James, because obviously the goal was winning, but he said he loves to bring excitement to the fans, loves to dunk. He's going to have opportunities to do that alongside you two point guards. So just what's your level of excitement to bring that to these fans, just that kind of high-flying show again?
Yeah, I'm excited about it and glad that I don't have to do none of it. So, because JC, obviously, he went to Wake Forest too. So I watched him play in college. We had an opportunity to play a few days here and obviously played against him in the league. But his energy, the way he comes in the screens, to see what he did for the past, I don't know how many years with Trae Young, I think that's something that our team is definitely going to need, someone to be a high flyer and play the way that he plays.
Chris, first of all, welcome back.
Thank you.
Tomer Azar with Clutch Points. James was just talking about how he can't believe it's the 17th media day. It's your 21st media day.
Yeah.
How does it feel going through the rounds and everything?
Man, it's wild. You laugh probably at some of the questions that you get, right, when you're doing like all the videos and they asking you, certain questions. It's always a lot of fun though. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of gratitude because all this is part of it, right? And if you're at media day, then two things. That means you're still in the NBA, which is a privilege. And then what it also means is that training camp starts the next day, right? And that's one of the most exciting times of the year every single year because every team goes into the training camp thinking that they gonna win the championship or at least have a chance at it. So it's a really fun time of the year.
Lawrence mentioned that, it feels like this team is very aligned. Like, the father time only gives you so many cracks at it. You guys have to take advantage when you can. How aligned do you guys kind of feel like, I don't know if you guys had a chance to, at the mini camp or anything like that, but how aligned do you kind of feel like this team is heading into what, is a lot, better years for some of you guys?
I mean, I think a lot of us have talked. We've gotten the gym together. Obviously, the league's a lot different now than back in the day where, you got about 4 or 5 practices before the first training camp. But the one thing about having a lot of vets that we have is, there's not a lot of talking that has to be done, right? Like we got to get together, see what it looks like on the court. But everybody knows, sort of what you have to do. But you got to really build those relationships with the time.
Chris, Ramona Shelby, ESPN.
Yep.
You've been through so many things in your NBA career, like whether it be scandals or the thing that happened when you got here with Donald Sterling, right?
Mm-hmm.
In San Antonio last year, I'm sure that was a lot up and down with Pop and his health and everything. How do you ever think to yourself like, man, I have really been through a lot in my 20 years in the league? I mean, you founded the bubble. Think about all of that.
What's crazy is a lot of it I somewhat forget or don't think about till somebody mentions it, to tell you the truth. And I think, fortunately, that's because, for the most part, I got a lot of stuff going on. As far as family, kids, wife, all that stuff going on. But definitely seen a lot and experienced a lot. So, yeah, it's been interesting.
Do any of these guys ask you about it? Like, I mean, I could pick 5 things I could ask you about, like these things that you've been in the middle of.
At times, sometimes people ask me about it, but I tell you, being in the seat that I was in on a lot of them, whether it be one of the star players or president of the union, my hat has always been different. So I've had a different view, different lens. But usually somebody asks me about it, I usually tell them. But sometimes people ask, but I forget. I forget that when I went to Houston, owner changed in too. Yeah, so a lot of stuff didn't happen.
I guess my last thing for you is when you came here the first time, there was a whole trade, right? That was to the Lakers, and then it was undone, and then you got to the Clippers. This one was a little less chaotic. Does it feel a little full circle coming back here toward the end after all that?
Definitely. I was in the locker room talking with Brad about how this is, I think, year 14 for him. I know Brad since he was in high school, so year 14 for him is crazy. Yeah, it's just time slows down for no one, and I think that's why you just got to cherish the moments and take full advantage of it.
Hey Chris, Lauren Rosen,
Yep.
Vandal. We saw you get a little emotional and choked up when you came back for your intro press conference. I'm curious if it's really set in for you that jersey is back on your body, and if not, when do you think it might truly set in?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a lot, obviously, when the press conference happened because all the conversations and all the things to end up here, and like I said, to have my family there, my kids there, and now I was in the gym all weekend watching my kids play, and I hadn't watched them play in the last 6 years, so it's all sort of probably going to be taking place, but now I'm excited about getting to work, and that's why I said, with media day to day, that means we start tomorrow.
Chris, I'm the athletic, good to see you again.
You too.
You talking about being in the gym, like you've been in the gym, you've been working, like we've gotten to see some of that. You played all 80, you started all 82 last year, but as someone with your experience level and your life experience level, like how are you approaching training camp? Like training camp, guys don't even want to be in training camp. Sometimes they would just wait till the middle of the season when they need it. Like, how are you at this stage of your life and career approaching, like, not just participating, but trying to show these coaches that you're ready to play day one?
Yeah, I ain't never thought like that, just to tell you the truth. It's always been about hooping and the fun of it and the connectivity and being on a team. You know, I think if I wanted to do something individual, I would have went and tried to play golf or tennis. You know, that's the thing about being on a team is like understanding that you alone aren't enough, right? And so with our team, like I said, everyone always asks, what am I teaching these guys? But when I get in the gym with Trenton Flowers, Jay Mill, all these guys, I'm constantly learning from them too. So, and there's a competition aspect, right? You step onto the court at 35, 40 years old, and the youngins are always like, oh, we got him, you know what I mean? So it's the competition aspect of it, and it's a game, it's basketball. So I've been playing that since I was 4 or 5 years old, and I love it.
Hi, Chris. Justin Russo writes, since that press conference that you gave, you've been out and about doing several things. You went to Angel City with your daughter to celebrate her birthday, went to the Sparks game with your family. Kind of being back home, not having to go anywhere when the season starts, what does that mean to you?
You have no idea. Seriously, I mean, shoot. My son had a game at 10 Saturday morning. My daughter had 2 games in Ladera Ranch. So driving, just getting that time is everything. I mean, this time, the past 6 years, I've been gone. You know what I mean? And I know other people go through it and stuff like that, but it's been really cool to be able to see them. You know what I mean? To see them. And that makes all this even better. You know what I mean? All the basketball and all that stuff. So just being back, went to a Dodger game with my wife, you know, just getting a chance to do life a little bit, not just basketball, I think helped.
And you mentioned you were the president of the union at one point. The WNBA is going through pretty big CBA negotiations. Kind of what advice, when you were president of the union, would you give to them as they look to get what they believe is their fair share?
Man, to them is to talk as a collective as much as possible, right? Talking about the ladies, the women, all of them, you know, talk as much as possible and over communicate in this situation.
Hey Chris, Beth Harris, AP. You've
Yes.
been through a million different all-star formats and over the years. I'm just kind of wondering what you think about what's coming up here in February with this U.S. versus world format.
Man, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't know what it is. I've been so disconnected. You know what I mean? Seriously, I don't know what the format is for this year.
Yeah, that's basically, they want to pit U.S. versus like the foreign stars of the league.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm very detail oriented, so I don't even know enough to chime in on. I don't know how you pick that or whatnot. So.
Now let me try one more on you then. We all know how sports gambling is. The rise of that in this country has been tremendous.
Right.
And I'm wondering, especially with prop bets, I'm wondering if you as a player have had any negative experiences with fans getting on you that maybe, hey, I bet on you to do X, Y, Z, and I'm wondering what you think of those type of bets maybe for sports in general.
Well, I mean, that goes crazy, to tell you the truth. If you look at every player in any league will tell you, after the game, your social media is flooded with people saying that you sold or you did this or did that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's tough. I'm telling you, flooded after the game. Somebody telling you you needed one more assist or you needed one more steal or whatnot. But you control what you can control. And that's going out and hooping and playing. I'm sure the betting and the gambling is not going anywhere. But as a player, my advice is to play the game. Hoop, like hoop, do whatever, like play the game and let that take care of itself.
One more, Janice.
Chris, Janice Carr, Orange County.
Yes, ma'am.
Southern California News Group. What did Brad's gesture regarding the roster, the jersey number mean to you, and what number would you have worn if he didn't?
Oh man, I didn't know what you was talking about. You said gesture. I was about to say, what did he do? Man, it meant a lot. You know what I mean? And you say what number would I have worn? If only y'all knew how much money I didn't pay throughout my career to have number 3. You know what I mean? The stuff that guys have asked me to pay or whatnot, it's crazy. So I don't know. At one point I was probably gonna do 12 because it added up to 3. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what number I would have worn. Thankfully we don't have to think about it. But one day we'll talk about that. The insane amount of money that guys didn't ask me for to have number 3. And just know that that number ain't never been worth it that much for me. You know what I mean? It's a cool number to have, but it ain't worth the asking price some of them boys is asking for.
Did Brad charge you?
Huh?
Did Brad ask anything?
No, he probably just try to get it back in the card game. But that says a lot about Brad, seriously. You know what I mean? And I didn't know Brad for a long time. Like I said, I can't name another guy in the NBA, honestly, who is as involved as I am in grassroots AAU basketball. You know what I mean? And that's really where we've been connected for the last few years. His team actually beat mine this past year, and they won the Peach Jam championship. But I'm excited because a lot of times you know guys, but you don't really get a chance to know them until you're teammates. And so I'm excited to be teammates with Brad this year.
Thank you, Chris.
No doubt. Appreciate it.
Hey, Ty, good to see you.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you. We're doing well. We've talked to Lawrence about this quite a bit, just with the roster that you guys have. There's so much depth, and you've had a lot of deep teams since you've been here. This one's definitely up there in terms of the amount of playable guys that you have. You've always done a really good job of making sure guys are bought in and keeping that communication open. Has that started already? Talking to guys, knowing like CP played 82 games last year. You got guys like Brad who are used to playing a certain type of way. Those conversations about buy-in and how important that's going to be with this group.
Yeah, we definitely talked about it, and so, when camp starts, everyone buys into what you're trying to do and what you're saying. And so we just got to get to the season and let everyone understand their roles and what we need from them every single night. And I thought our group last year, we did a good job of buying into our roles and who we were as a team. And so we got to do that same thing this year if we want to be good.
Well, Murray, at that point, good to see you.
Good to see you.
What were your takeaways after going through and seeing how you're about to enter the offseason in terms of weaknesses and areas of improvement for the Clippers, and how do you feel like the team addressed those with the veteran additions that the team made?
Yeah, I thought Lawrence and Mark and Trent, they did a good job of just addressing some needs that we needed. Like I say, acquiring CP was a point guard, can make plays, can make guys better. Lopez, who's a three-point shooter, but also a great rim protector. I think John Collins with athleticism, the way he's able to, run the floor, finish at the rim, another big body that can rebound. And then, picking up Bradley, who I think is, a really good scorer, can score at all 3 levels. And we just got to challenge him like we've been doing all summer, just to get back to being an elite defender he's been in the past. And so our pickups have been great, and so I'm excited about this team.
Hi, good to see you again.
Yes, sir.
When you look at losing a guy like Norm, but also adding a guy like Brad specifically, not exactly the same player, different type of scores, but how do you kind of feel like you'll be able to incorporate a guy like Brad? I know Phoenix probably wasn't the best fit for him, but how do you kind of feel like you can incorporate a guy like him, and how seamless do you think it could be, that transition?
Yeah, I think, adding a guy like Brad is easy for our team. I think you have a guy who can run pick and roll. He can catch and shoot. He's a great cutter. Can handle the basketball. And so, he does a lot of different things offensively, that, I think his biggest ability for us is being able to pass the ball and make plays for Zoo and guys like that when he comes off pick and roll. So I don't think it'd be hard at all just to incorporate him into what we're trying to do.
Ty, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. What is your long-term relationship with Chris Paul like? I mean, you guys go so far back because you've been around forever and he's been around forever, but what is it like to have him back now and the role that he's going to be in?
Full circle. When I came here in, I think, 2013, and I was doing the defense for Doc, CP, like I said, he was the best player on our team, and just being able to be around him and understand him and know him has been great. And so we've had a great relationship since then, and so to bring him back now, when he's 40 years old, it's just good to see him back, and like I said, still playing.
Who's a louder voice in the locker room, you or him?
Oh, him. I don't do a lot of talking.
Hey, good to see you.
Me too.
Justin Russo Writes. What do you foresee John's role being on this team for you guys? Because Lawrence has talked about bringing in a 4 who can also sometimes play 5. What do you kind of foresee his role as for you guys?
Just versatile. A versatile big that can guard multiple positions. I think, like you said, he can play 4 and then play some backup 5 as well. and play some backup five as well for us. I think if we want to go small ball five, if you have big bodies on the floor like him, Nico, and Kawhi together, that's a pretty big unit. And so I just see him being versatile, being able to play the 4 and the 5.
Hey, Ty, Janice Carr.
How you doing?
Good. Have you told James that he doesn't have to play 79 games this season?
Yeah, I told him.
And
He's not gonna listen. I mean, he wants to play. That's a good thing. Especially nowadays. Just having a player that wants to play every night, and if he's not hurt, he's not injured, he wants to play. And so, but we do have to do it better. Do a good job of just protecting him from himself, so he's not getting worn out and worn down. And maybe we can stop some injuries that can seep in. So we just want to make sure we're doing right by James.
What's going on, Coach? Good seeing you again. BJ Matthews of the Sports Tribune. Piggybacking a little bit off of Justin's question, bringing John Collins in, put him at the 4. How much have you been thinking about bringing Kawhi? Now he can play the 3 a lot more and playing at his natural position. Have you thought a lot about that in the acquisition of getting Collins this year?
Yes, I have. And then just like you said, getting a bigger traditional 4. I know Nico's getting older, but just having a guy with his size and his strength, a guy that can match up with a guy that gives us a lot of problems. I ain't saying no names, but at that position, that's just strong and athletic, and Collins would be great for that. For that matchup and what we're trying to do. So I'm excited about that.
2 more.
Hey, Coach. Eric Robinson, News Stitch Media. How do you think the veteran leadership with Harden, Hall of Fame veterans, and Chris Paul leading this team, how do you think it'll translate to the younger players?
It's already been great. I think just CP being here, all summer. I think James, the things he's done with the young guys over the years has been great. But CP take them to the football game, take them to the Chris Brown concert, just things like that to involve the young guys and, bring everybody together. That's what CP does. That's what leaders do. And so it's just been good, just having CP back, a guy who's been here, who understands the organization, and to be able to bring the young guys along. So I think it's really good for us.
Last one. Hey Ty, Graham Mona of the Sporting Tribune right here. Good to see you again. With Zoo and Brooke, is there anything that you guys have talked about? I know it's early, but with Brooke and Zoo maybe playing together, and then what Brooke can maybe unlock for Zoo fresh off of a career year? I
think, with Zoo just not running him into the ground. I think, last year I thought we played him a lot. We didn't really have a backup center, so we, when things got tough, we always had to get Zoo back in the game. And I thought he played too many minutes. If you ask me, if you ask him, he didn't play enough. But for me, it's just too many minutes. So I think you give Zoo a center, a backup that's solidified in this league and brings what we need defensively, and also can spread the floor by shooting the basketball. I think it'll keep Zoo fresher, and I think we can, like I said, play Brooke a lot more. We don't have to really rush back to getting Zoo in the game.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, players up there. To have you all here, Lawrence is going to open up with a statement, and then we'll get into the Q&As. When we're doing the Q&A portion, please wait for the microphone from our man Matt, and please state your name and affiliation, and we'll go through after that. Take it away, Lawrence.
Surely. Thanks, Chris. Before we get started, I just we lost another legend, another giant in Coach George Raveling. We lost Jerry the year before. George is one of the most important men of his generation. So again, condolences to his family. His teachings will live with us for a long time. Well, welcome. We're actually very excited to get started tomorrow. Training camp is where we start to build the foundation of our season, and it's about establishing the right habits day in and day out. Our players have been working very hard this off-season, and now it's about competing, growing together, and making the most out of every opportunity. It's cliche-ish, but it's true. Every practice, every walkthrough, every film session, every player development session, every lifting session is an opportunity to get a little bit better. We're a deep team with a lot of proven players 1 through 11 and reinforcements at every position. This summer, we were able to add size, athleticism, and shooting in the front court, plus playmaking, ball handling, and shooting in the back court. We're super excited to watch this group grow together. Now, I'm not naive. I know there are a lot of questions about our organization. I wish I could answer them all, but out of respect to the NBA investigation, I can't. What I can do is answer what I'm able to share. I will say this. We are glad there's an investigation, and we welcome it. We appreciate that there'll be a clear-eyed look at these allegations, and we're eager for the truth to come out. The assumptions and conclusions that have been made are disappointing and upsetting, and we expect the investigation will show that these allegations are wrong. I'm hurt for Steve. He's one of the best people and most honorable people I've ever met. He does things the right way for the right reasons. And he constantly reminds us to stay on the right side of the rules. I'm also hurt for our players, our staff, and fans. And on a larger level, as I've learned more about this over the past month, I feel bad for all the people who were defrauded by this individual. Let's not forget, this was a case of widespread fraud, and there were a lot of different victims. The salary cap governs everything we do. Our mission every day is to build the best team we can under the constraints of the cap. There is no gray area. There are no secret shortcuts. It's clear what we are and are not allowed to do. The accusations made against us are serious, and they don't line up with my experience, my reality. We will cooperate with this investigation and let this process play out. But we are eager for the whole truth, the whole picture to be revealed. We're very confident in what it will show. Questions?
Great. So please, hold on. Please raise your hand. We have only one microphone, so if you have a question, raise your hand, and when we come to you, please state your name and organization. Ping, first hand up.
David Pinkelor, KTLA. Lawrence, I've known you for a long time. And how do you the optics don't look good, but how do you work through this at this point as the season starts?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of inferences and insinuations, Ping. Obviously, I can't comment on that. But we do look forward to providing the facts to the league so they can see the entire picture, which I think is critical. We feel very, very confident we're on the right side of this, and we'll just focus on what we can control and trust the investigative process.
Hey Lawrence, BJ Matthews of the Sporting Tribune. How you doing?
Where you at?
Over here.
Oh, okay. When you say over here, that's even challenging, yeah.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good.
Ended the season how it ended last year. What did you and Coach Ty Lue talk about as far as roster construction? And did you guys feel like you actually added those voids in with the shooting, with the offensive play, defensive play? What are those things that you guys addressed going into this season?
Yeah, I think we look at this season, you have to do a full autopsy of it. Typically when you lose, and we lost in the first round, there's so much of a focus on what just happened. And I think the benefit of having months to kind of emotionally kind of unwind a little bit and then literally go through every single game, the regular season was something that we were very proud of. And I give a great deal of credit to the guys on the team. We talked a lot about James, but Norm and Zoo were huge, KD and DJJ, and everyone else who contributed. And then we look at, if you study our last 48 games of the season, we wound up being second in defense, eighth on offense. That's a pretty large sample size. And I say that, obviously, Kawhi and what, you look at the last, his last 23 games and the last 21 games of our team where we finished 18-3. So all those are super encouraging. With that being said, we lost in the first round, we lost in 7 games. So we knew there was a need with our size, that if we can get more athletic, if we could add some more shooting, that was a critical piece. And I think with John Collins, who gives us the ability to have some more positional versatility, we can play Kawhi now a little bit more at the 3, John at the 4. John can even play some small ball 5, move Kawhi or Nico to the 4. And then with Brooke, who we're super fortunate to get, a range shooting 5 who's also a rim protector, who's also like one of the top guys to play in this league as a human being. He will go down as one of the great teammates that's played. He's that good a guy. So I think the front court, we're able to address some needs there. then in the backcourt, we knew we needed to improve our ball handling while also, trying to upgrade our shooting as well, and just our playmaking. It was very, very hard to trade Norm, Norm was awesome for us last year. But the opportunity to get Brad Beal, we felt when you look at his shooting, his scoring, but also his playmaking, and also getting a really, really talented player who's going to have a chip on his shoulder. And we've had pretty good success with guys like that. And then to get, Chris on so many different levels, CP, one of the franchise's greatest players, he played all 82 games last year, and really, his desire to come back home, to be with us, but he also he helps us with a need as well, combined with the different things that we did in the draft. So we're super encouraged by what we have. We know this is going to be a process, but we're looking forward to this team coming together and growing together and seeing if we can do something special.
Hey, Justin Russo writes, Lawrence.
I like that. Russo writes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, you said I had to say it.
See what he did there?
Yeah. Good plug. And I just amplified it.
Thank you. I know you can't discuss the ongoing investigation, but how do you see it impacting the players? Is it something that can impact the group as they get ready for the season to unfold, or is that just something you think they'll just take in stride?
Yeah, I think one is you acknowledge it. I mean, there's no sense with it. And then, they know that we're very confident that we're on the right side of things. And then you just focus on what you can control. I mean, if you're looking for a distraction, you can find one, right? I think what makes athletes so special is their ability just to focus on things they can control. They have great pride in being Clippers. So obviously they don't want to hear any disparaging, remarks, allegations, accusations. Yet at the same time, they're focused on playing, competing, and bringing their best.
Lawrence, this is Ramona Shelburne with ESPN. Just following up on the NBA investigation of this situation, I'll ask you the same thing I asked Steve, which was, has Dennis Robertson, Kawhi's uncle, ever asked for any extra benefits that wouldn't be allowable under the NBA salary cap directly to you? There's been a lot coming out about his asks.
Yeah, look, Dennis knows the rules, Kawhi knows the rules, Mitch Franco knows the rules, and we know the rules.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, we all know the rules.
Long at the Athletic. Good to see you, Lawrence.
Good to see you too, Long.
You talk about the health stats of the roster. One, how's Bogdanovich, because we know that he didn't finish Eurobasket. Two, what can you tell us about Kawhi in terms of how he's feeling now? We know that you said he's had a healthy offseason, and are there any other issues potentially going into tomorrow's camp?
Yeah, sure. So injury update, I actually had to make sure I don't forget this loss. So is with Bogey, he suffered a proximal hamstring tendon tear at Eurobasket. Another update was Brad Beal had a scope on his right knee in May while he was still with Phoenix to deal with some irritation he felt last season. Both Brad and Bogey will participate, in camp, but we'll monitor how they progress throughout the week. Kawhi had his first healthy offseason in a while. Feels great. Had a very, very productive offseason in terms of working and continuing to get better, and he's super excited to start the season.
Lawrence, Tomer Zarley with Clutch Points. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Coming into this year, you talked about being deep 1 through 11 guys who've experienced and done this for a long time. Obviously, a lot needs to go your way as well. How are you kind of taking a day-by-day approach, given that this is year 6 or 7 with Kawhi now, and trying to get to that finish line?
Yeah, I think you look at it as, and this is going to be the master of the obvious, but every year it's a new team, but literally a new team, right? We have new players, new roles, guys are a year older, gain additional experience, and I think one of our great opportunities is how we weaponize that we're, I heard a new term, so I'm going to use it, a seasoned team, okay? But how do we weaponize that? And to me, one of the ways we can is urgency. We know how fragile this game is, whether it's an injury, whether, things all of a sudden, we've seen injuries in this league to some of the better players. We've suffered that. And you think about our team, this is CP's 21st year. This is James' 17th year. It's Brooke and Nico's 18th year. It's Kawhi and Brad's, I think, 14th year. We have 3 guys going to their 10th year, 2 guys going to their 9th. My point is, how do you use that and you weaponize that? And I think there's nothing that individually these guys haven't seen, both on the court, in the locker room, off the floor. So how do we make these collective experiences and put us in a position where now we can do something special? And what we did last year doesn't matter to this year if we're not going to apply that same hard work, that same buy-in, that same connectivity. And what I love about our guys, they know, they've seen it. There's no BS in them. And they understand that it is about the work. It is about the right habits. It is willing to do things you may not want to do, but the team needs you to do it. And especially, now Kawhi and Brooke, those guys have won championships, but you have a bunch of other great players in that locker room who are thirsty and desperate for it. And you run out of time at a certain point. Is that father time knocks on the door? And that's what I think our guys will look at, is that, you only get so many cracks at doing something special. We feel that if things break our way, we can put ourselves in a position, and we know that the Western Conference is a bear. But yet I think there's a great deal of belief in the locker room, but also knowing it is going to be a process. It's a brand new group. There'll be different combinations. We'll deal with different adversities. I mean, we have, one that we're facing now that was something different than what we had last year. And but I love the guys in the locker room. I love the leadership we have with T. Lou and his coaching staff. And the beauty of this organization, starting with Steve, is alignment. It's one team. And so I'm super excited to get the process started. Training camp is one of my favorite times. There's a purity to it, and I love this time of year.
Lawrence, Chris Mannix, Sports Illustrated.
Chris?
You said earlier you're very confident that the team is going to wind up on the right side of things with this Kawhi investigation. I guess I'm wondering, what's giving you that confidence over the last few weeks? And have you learned anything about why Kawhi would take $7 million per year from a company to endorse something he never actually endorsed?
Yeah, I think the confidence breeds, Chris, is just seeing the entire truth and knowing the entire truth. I can't comment just due to the investigation of anything related to that. And, but I will say, which, I think everyone gets, is that endorsement contracts are completely separate than player contracts. So what a player makes, whether it's Kawhi or any of our other players' endorsement contracts, I have no idea. But the confidence is breeding just from once the league sees the entire truth, we feel very confident.
Ben Galver, Washington Post. With the investigation kind of swirling here for the last month or so with Kawhi Leonard, does that change his status, I guess, from a strategy standpoint, roster building standpoint? Feels like he's been your centerpiece franchise player now for more than half a decade. Does that change in any way with this news?
Nothing. Nothing's changed. And I think, to me is, follow the actions. We tried to use every tool this offseason to get this team better. We know that Kawhi raises our ceiling. When he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the world, and he's healthy.
Lauren, so the amount of depth that you guys have, we've talked about it a little bit already, just the necessity of the buy-in that is going to have to be there this season. Since the last time we spoke, have there been any conversations that have allowed you to kind of gauge that sense where guys that have been playing a lot more than maybe they are going to be playing this season are fully prepared for what that dynamic is going to look like?
Yeah, I think the thing is you start those conversations, you start doing them individually, we'll start doing them as a team. But the reality is, unless there's something that's crazy, you usually get buy-in going into training camp. It's like, okay, then when it's Thanksgiving and Christmas and things start not going your way, can you still be for the team when things aren't going great for you? And those are like real challenges. And I think you just acknowledge all what the potential challenges could be. And it's a whole lot easier to fix a leaky roof, in the sunshine than it is during the rain. And I think you're very, very honest with the group. Hey, what are the potential challenges? How are we going to deal with it? Will we be accountable? Will we hold each other accountable? And how we're going to grow through those things. And I think you need to, you got to get in the mud, and you have to grow through some tough times to be able to get out on the other side. And I think that is one of the benefits of having a veteran team. They get this. This isn't square one. The other thing, and we talk so much about our vets, our younger guys have had tremendous off seasons. And JVG and the assistants really poured into these guys. Typically, what we do is after summer league, they get around 10 to 14 days off, and then they're in the gym. And these guys have been grinding. They're working hard. And I think some of these guys have gotten to a point where when they step on the court tomorrow, they're going to try to take someone's job, and that's what they should do. And I think that's what's going to make this a super competitive camp.
Hey, Lawrence. Lauren Rosenthal.
Hey, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I imagine when you did that autopsy on the season as a whole, you saw a lot about James Harden and the way that he grew his game, changed himself and his habits. What did you see from him this summer, and how do you hope he builds upon that this year so he can propel the group in the same direction he was able to do last year?
Yeah, I mean, James demonstrated incredible leadership. And I think the best leaders, they unite, align, and inspire with their actions. And I think James playing 79 games, I think everyone remembers that we have that horrible loss in Phoenix where we coughed up, I think, what, a 23-point lead. We were down a couple guys, second night of a back-to-back, playing Detroit, President Obama in the stands. And I guess he wasn't in the stands, courtside. And James, puts up a 50-piece. And, just you go back and you think about the amount of effort and energy it takes to do that, especially against a really, really good defensive team. And the thing that I loved about James, going through the negotiation with him as a free agent this offseason, his number one focus is how do we get the team better? And he was so engaged and doing everything he could in his power to sell the Clippers. And there's a big misperception, I think, of James. I mean, I didn't even know until I had the benefit of working with him, of just how great of a worker he is and how much he just loves to play. And he's got an incredible brain. He's got a great heart, and he wants to do something special this is his hometown. And there's a great deal of pride in being a Clipper and trying to do something that we've never done as an organization. And, James wears that as a badge of honor.
Michael Matthew here in Family TV. Lawrence, Zoo is coming off, the best year of his career. Is there a next step for him as a player? And if so, how are you guys going to be able to help him get there?
Yeah, I think what Zoo has shown is he's gotten better each and every year. Incredible credit to him, first of all. Credit to T. Lou and Jay Larinaga. And a lot of credit to, I think, James Harden in terms of what he's done. But I think Zoo in his own right has put himself in a position where he can be an all-star. And, all-star is kind of subjective, but I think that's a realistic pathway for him. I mean, he essentially was fourth team All-NBA, right? Put himself in a great position where he can be a defensive player of the year. You normally have to be mentioned first in that air before you get it. So I think that's an obtainable goal. But what I love about Zoo is he is all about the team. It's not about individual accomplishments. Zoo is a truth teller and not afraid to both say the hard things and also hear the hard things. You look, when you see Zoo, you'll see his body. He's lost 10 pounds. And that's just the commitment. I mean, Zoo is in his prime. And I think the best is ahead for him. Love that he's our longest tenured Clipper and the growth that he's made. So super excited to see. I think the best is to come with Zoo.
Last question here.
Right, Demetrius Beaver and Fantasy TV. You talked about the youth of the team, and two players that stand out to me is Jordan Miller and Kobe Brown. Can you necessarily talk about what is your expectations for them coming into this training camp after seeing that time in Summer League and in the G League as well?
Yeah, let me tell you a little story about Jordan. I have, and we have so much respect for him. Okay, one, if there was an off-season MVP, it'd be Jordan Miller. But how he got there is pretty incredible. So if you think about, the second day of Summer League, just because of some different cap gymnastics, we had to pull Jordan Miller before practice, sit him in the office and say, hey, look, this is kind of coming out of left field, but we're going to have to waive you. Okay, now that's pretty crushing. Okay, now, how did he respond? Well, first, literally, we said, look, you can go home, talk to your agent. Probably going to be in your best interest to play Summer League, even if you're not going to be with us going forward, being that you know the system, and we'll make sure you're in a position to be successful. What the guy does is he stays during that practice. He just got really, really hard news to take. He watches practice. He clears waivers. He decides to play Summer League with us. He does what he's always done, whether it's Summer League or G League. He performs at a super, super high level. Then after that, he has a choice. Okay, he was looking for a roster spot or a two-way. Now, if he was spiteful, or you could make a pretty good justification that, you know what, screw the Clippers. I can't believe they did this to me. He had opportunities, and he decided to stay here. And then not only did he decide to stay here in a two-way, he's had an incredible, incredible rest of the offseason. The work he's put into it, you'll see it with his body. You'll see it with his defense, both on and off the ball. Offensively, he has some terrific scoring gifts. But just the humility and the hunger, I think he's put himself in a really, really good position. And there's a lot of momentum that he's created. But I have a ton of respect for Jordan, how he's handled that. Kobe, it's been unfortunate for him because he has these little starts of momentum where you start to see it, and then he has some fluky injuries. So, it's that first half of Summer League, he was playing really well, a lot of urgency. Guy dives into and hits his ankle. He's out for 6 weeks. So now you kind of have to deal with the rehab. Then you got to start back up. So I'm hoping, I think these guys know year 3, it's go time for them. And then also, I think, what we've seen from some of our other younger guys has been super encouraging. And I'm interested, okay, what does it look like now come training camp? But we're super excited to continue to see those guys' growth and development.
Thanks, Al.